Just recently, sorry,
Yes.
because you were bringing issues. Well, just recently, when the Benin City Airport was being refurbished, rehabilitated,
Yes.
they were using the Asaba Airport that you said nobody could land.
No, the only propeller engine can land in Asaba. It has been downgraded officially. I'm even saying that the press need to help us to cry out, because I tell you what I'm saying, this is just the voice of the majority you are hearing here today, this morning.
They used the Asaba Airport.
No, see, don't even compare Asaba with Benin.
No, we're
Benin
not
Airport
comparing.
was built many years ago.
No, because you said
Asaba
plane,
Airport is a brand new airport. It's just like a brand new car that developed for the same day you bought it.
You said no plane could land, and
No,
I'm
I said
saying
propeller.
And I'm saying that some planes landed during that period.
But I'm also putting it to you that Asaba Airport officially has been downgraded. A brand new airport that was built last 2 years.
But on the grounds of your appeal,
yes.
I mean, when you appeal, because you say you will appeal.
Definitely, for sure. Because we could not even
What specifically would you be appealing in this case?
We are saying that there was no election, and therefore there could be no result, and therefore you cannot declare anybody. Can we read the Constitution, the Electoral Act? If you go to Section 155 of the Electoral Act, it is very clear. When there is no election, you cannot have result. And if you don't have result, you cannot...
You know how these things are. They're not generic or blanket. You have to table your matter before the tribunal.
We did.
Precept upon precept.
We
and if they
did
look at
everything that need to be done. We brought witnesses that said there was no election.
But they still say you were not able to substantially prove your
They
case.
should now be the one. In fact, it will come to a point, what is happening in Ghana should happen in Nigeria. It's getting near that point where some of our judges need to be investigated. We are getting very close. And I believe the very moment we start doing that, because some of them has also sentenced themselves in an attempt to pander and look away. Because if I appeal, if a petitioner comes before you, and you uphold all my grounds of petition, and then in the ratio dissident you come and say that I did not win the election, how?
No, but
because
you're also a lawyer, Mr. Dogami.
Yes.
And there are two different things.
No.
If they uphold your grounds of petition, does it necessarily
and the natural consequence that will flow is that, because we also made prayers and said, because of ABCD, there was no election, this is the result of the card reader, this is this, and the result, the natural consequence is we now pray that this election should be nullified and a fresh election ordered within 90 days. They didn't have the guts to do that. And we're surprised, but we prayed when they were reading those things, we were amazed, we were happy with the judges, were fantastic. In fact, you know, so many persons have come on air to say that those card readers were mere paperwork, that they were not constitutional. Must everything be constitutional? That you want to eat this money, you must put it in the constitution? Who tell you that you need to eat? There are certain things, see, when people are made leaders, it is assumed that you should rise above board. When people are appointed tribunal judges, we believe the masses. Don't forget, we must not go to a point where we lose confidence in our judges.
Yeah, but I mean,
we must not get there.
So if you agreed, if you say that they upheld the ground,
yes,
but they are not convinced that this substantially proves non-compliance with the electoral laws or even with the voting, can you fault the judges there?
Then they should be the one to tell us what
substantial non-compliance.
When there was, if they had that in mind, they would have dismissed all our...
Some people will say that the judges are only trying to be responsible here.
No, because if they don't believe there was... What is the use of the card reader? It's to reinforce the accreditation process. Because Section 59 of the Electoral Act is clear that over 59, yes, that if there is underage or underage, for instance, somebody could be an Ake and Popo. How do you know his age? That is the reason why the man or woman standing before me is that man that he prefers he is. And when you now have that, when we are able to prove that, then the onus is on the judge to tell us, because the natural consequence of that is that if you don't use card reader, anybody can grab a card and use it to vote.
That's why views are always divided on this matter, because if you look at the grounds for which you could challenge an election, Section 138(1) of the Electoral tells you all of those.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that on those grounds, if you challenge, you will win.
Yes.
It's the same principle you're alluding to, because you meet those grounds.
Yes.
It doesn't mean you will
What
win.
other ground are we supposed to meet? Then tell me.
No,
so that
the
next
grounds
time
to challenge an election.
Yes, they are stated in Section 138, which also includes...
Let me just land. It doesn't automatically translate into your ability to substantially prove your case. They're two different things, aren't they?
They are not. Because once I meet those grounds under which election can be nullified, the natural consequence is that those elections should be nullified.
No,
if there are other grounds that are invisible, then they have to be laid on the table so that the judges can tell us. Because
why did they say he who alleges must prove?
Yes, because we proved them that there was no election. You can see them arguing with themselves. We now have an INEC Asaba arguing with INEC Abuja. You now have PDP who cannot put any facts on the table to say that this was the result of this unit, and which will tally. And that was why they were not able to call one witness to come and corroborate their position that they won election. All throughout, they called only one witness. They should have been able to call witnesses in all the unit to say, look, in my unit there was election and this is the result. They know they will all babble if they call any witness. Because most of those figures were concocted and cooked in dark rooms. And there was nobody among the entirety of Delta that will come and say those figures that they were there when those figures were being concocted.
So why do you think you will win the case at the appeal?
Of course, the appeal is a more saner ground to go. More saner because they are going to look at the issues, they are going to look at all the ratios, the obita, they will when a judge starts going fishing, that is my worry. When a judge will leave the ratio on the ground and go about fishing, looking for excuses to make a reason, there's nobody who cannot make a reason.
Are you alleging that the judges were biased?
But that is what I'm saying, that well, it's up to them to say whether they are biased, they are not biased. But for me, on this matter, they are biased. Because
would that be fair? In the sense that you know that the judges cannot defend themselves. I mean, you're saying that...
And that's why you are here to defend them.
I'm not a defender of the judges. My point is, if you say that, you know, that the judgment, as far as you're concerned, you do not agree with it, some people will say perhaps that's a fair statement. But to say that, you know, the judges were biased after you've agreed that, you know, they upheld your grounds but denied your prayers,
yes,
is a matter, it's a subjective matter, as it were.
As it is. No, it's not subjective because there is natural consequences that flows from an action. For instance, if there is fire here, the natural consequence is that you are going to run out through the exit door. You upheld all our petition. And the natural consequence of our petition is that you are going to declare the election null and void.
That's an assumption. So
yes,
what if I choose not to run out?
That is what is
What if I choose to put out the fire?
No, if you are a firefighter, yes.
Or what if I choose to call, you know, raise an alarm or do something apart from running out? You have just made an assumption. If
yes.
It doesn't follow your assumption, it doesn't then mean that the judges were wrong.
No, what we are saying, and what I'm saying, and I think Deltans as a whole are saying, is that there are certain actions that people will interpret that you meant well. I expected that when there are issues of this nature, the place to go is the court. And we have all gone to the court. Now, you must begin to live above board to show that the decision you make are going to be subjected to both the plaintiff and the defendant, and people are going to complain. But once your decision is above board, because if the judge has come out to give a reason why we did not comply, then the world will sit back and say, wait a minute, let's look at it. Because like I said, I believe in good governance. People also believe in good governance. People say, wait a minute, these people gave good reason why those elections, why the election cannot be nullified.
Assuming these elections, you know, for whatever reason are nullified by the Court of Appeal and elections are conducted, and for whatever reason you win, how do you intend to pacify or ensure that you get the support of the other two candidates that run in this election?
That's why we are different. My candidate, Olorungo Ortega, is a technocrat, is a politician. He knows what to do.
Because right now you're refusing to support the current government.
No, how do we support? You see, somebody goes on air and says, support me. Somebody who wants support will begin to do the things that Deltas want. And what does Delta want?
All right, Mr. Doja, you made your points. I'm sorry, we have to go.
Of debts, and he's not telling Deltas, and we are suffering. If I tell you we are suffering, and that is the true position of Delta. And I want the press to go on investigative analysis of the situation in Delta.
Political advisor to Delta APC Campaign Council. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you, I'm grateful.